everybody, welcome to Cooking with Tash, also known as Faux Chef Outlaw. Today we're going to be making cornmeal porridge, Jamaican style. Cornmeal is a very heavy staple in the Caribbean community. It was originally used by the Native Americans, and then the Europeans, once they settled the Americas, they used it to make different puddings, as they called it, or hasty pudding. This was something I grew up watching my parents and grandparents make for us for breakfast. It's a high energy, high calorie breakfast, and it's very simple to make. It takes about 30 to 45 minutes, and it'll fill you up for the whole morning. So follow me and let's get on this cornmeal porridge journey, all right? For the ingredients, you're gonna need cornmeal, of course. Don't get all caught up in what brand each ingredient is. It's very basic breakfast. It's something to eat and get you on your way, and you can put it in the fridge and heat it back up and have it the next morning too, okay? So you cornmeal, brown sugar, which is optional. It depends on how sweet you like it. There's no surefire way to do it or sweeten it. It's all sweetened to your taste. But I like to sprinkle some brown sugar at the end, and you'll see me do that a little bit later. So brown sugar, evaporated milk, that's gonna help to smooth out your porridge a little bit. So some people don't like it too thick. I don't like it too thick myself, so I use evaporated milk mixed with water to smooth it out a little bit, give it a more creamy texture. Coconut milk, coconut. What's island food without coconut, right? This will bring you back to the Caribbean if you ever went on a cruise or went on a summer vacation. You know, coconut milk is one of the most important ingredients for cornmeal porridge. Nutmeg, I got the grated nutmeg because I couldn't find my nutmeg grater. So we're just gonna use the grated version for now. Cinnamon is definitely one of those spices that adds a nice little kick of flavor to it towards the end. You can use cinnamon leaves or cinnamon sticks, it's your preference. I like to use cinnamon leaves, but I spent 2 hours in the store and I couldn't find the cinnamon leaves, so I gave up and just got the ground cinnamon. Vanilla, don't use too much, but I'll give you the measurements a little bit later. And speaking of measurements, with Jamaican cooking, our grandparents or parents, they never really used too many measurements when they cooked. It was always what you said, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and that's what we're gonna be doing here, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Everything is eyeballed. There's no surefire way to do anything. And if you fail it the first time, try it again. It's simple and it's cheap. A bag of cornmeal only costs maybe $1.50, $2. So don't worry if you ruin this one, just try it again if you have the time. Last but not least, we're gonna be sweetening it with condensed milk. Doesn't matter what brand, I like condensed milk in mine. And if you use condensed milk, you don't have to use the brown sugar, or if you use brown sugar, you don't have to use condensed milk. I like the flavoring with the condensed milk. Lastly, hard-dough bread, because it's Jamaican, and what's breakfast without some hard-dough bread? And all we're gonna do is just cut this up and put it in there, make it pretty. It's really good in there, and you'll love it. You don't have to do it, but it's worth it, all right? You're also gonna need 3 cups of water or more, depending on how thick you want it or how creamy you want it. You're gonna bring your 2 cups of water to a boil, and then next you're gonna mix out your cornmeal in a large bowl, small bowl, and add some water and coconut milk to that. Take 1 cup of cornmeal, pour it in your bowl so you can mix it out. You're gonna add 1 cup of water, and then you need to add a 1/2 cup of coconut milk. So let's get this open. And then what you're gonna do is add a 1/2 cup of coconut milk. But sometimes you open the coconut milk can, it's a little bit thick towards the bottom, so just pour out the clear juice, mix it around, a 1/2 cup here. It's my 1/2 cup, and you have to be careful with the coconut milk, because if you don't mix it out properly and keep stirring, it may burn your porridge really fast. So let me turn that down a little bit, I'm gonna mix out the coconut milk with the cornmeal. can already smell it, guys. So my water's boiling right now, and I have my 1 cup of cornmeal, 1 cup of water, and a half a cup of coconut milk in here in a mixture. And I'm gonna pour that in once the water starts to boil. Well, yep, it's boiling, so let's get that in there. And the thing is, when you pour your mixture in, you want to make sure that you keep stirring for 5 to 7 minutes. Otherwise, it's gonna burn really fast. So we're gonna pour it in and then just keep stirring, because it's disrespectful to your porridge to have lumps in it. So you're gonna keep stirring to avoid having those lumps. So just keep stirring gently. You're gonna stir like your life depending on it, okay? You're gonna let that sit. Smell that coconut? Smell good, not true? And once it starts to boil, you start to see a bubble here and there. Maybe turn it down a little bit. But don't stop stirring, keep stirring. And if it's too thick, what you wanna do is add some of the evaporated milk in here, or water, or both. It's your preference. Because I like mine creamy, I don't like it too thick. Some people like to eat porridge, some people like to drink porridge. And you know, going back to the origination of porridge, they call it a cereal, a hot cereal back then. So yeah, you may be thinking that this looks kind of like cream of wheat. I don't really know the history. I'm a die-hard cornmeal porridge fan, so I haven't really dabbled in cream of wheat too much, so. You're just gonna keep mixing, and there it goes. The texture is coming along nicely. You can add some more evap if you want, or you can add some water. You can do a mixture of both. How much we got? Oh, 1 more minute. And then we'll turn it down all the way and let it simmer for 30 minutes. So right now you see all the stirring, no lumps. And you can go a little bit more than 5 minutes if you want. It's up to you. Just drop down the heat on the stove a little bit more. I'll probably do a little bit more evap and a little bit more water. Just because I know I said I wasn't going to anymore, but it's a little bit thicker than I want it. So I'm just gonna do that. It's a little bit of manual labor to do it so early in the morning, but it's worth it. So it's finally getting to the texture that I wanted. I know my timer is going off right now, but I'm just gonna keep stirring a little bit more. And this is not something that you set and forget, because those lumps, you gotta avoid the lumps when it comes to your porridge. So once you set it on low to simmer, just stir it occasionally, because what's gonna happen, you add all that water, it's still gonna thicken back up. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna cover it, turn it down on low, and cover it for the next 30 minutes. 25 to 30 minutes, you can eyeball it. And just let it sit. We'll be back in a second, okay? All right, so it looks like the bad boy is pretty good now. So let's catch it before it lumps up. What we're gonna do to start off, we're gonna pour out the condensed milk into the pot. Let me get my big spoon. The man with the big spoon. All right, pour the condensed milk into the pot to sweeten it. You're gonna keep the stove all the way low, on the lowest setting possible while you do this. Some people like to turn it off. I keep it all the way. Cool. And then, so you got your condensed milk in there. And then you're gonna do maybe a teaspoon of vanilla. And you don't even have to use a whole teaspoon, it's up to you. Because the vanilla will spoil your entire recipe if you don't use it properly. All right, so now some cinnamon. Who doesn't love cinnamon? So I'll go with like a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of cinnamon. Up to you how much cinnamon you like. Don't use too much though. Remember I told you we use little bit in our measurements. and some nutmeg. I usually like to grate it, but this time we're gonna just do a half teaspoon of nutmeg so we don't change the flavor entirely. Splash a little bit more in there for good luck. All right. So now we'll mix that around. Ooh, look at that. All right, so we're just mixing it around, mix it out. We'll change up a little bit, but that's okay. Keep your stove down low. And you don't even need to use the brown sugar at all. I just like to see it on the top to make it pretty. And you're really supposed to taste your food when you're cooking. Me, I don't like spoilers in my cooking or my TV shows. So I don't like to taste my food because I don't feel like you get the full taste of what it's gonna be like until after the fact. As long as you know what you're doing and you know your measurements, then, you know, like just eyeball and keep it moving. And then if it come out bad, you fix it there or try again. Bad boy is done. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do now is I'm gonna turn it off. All right, let's turn it off and mix around a little bit more and get ready to serve. All right, guys, and 2 servings. That's Jamaican Cornmeal Porridge by Faux Chef Outlaw, Cooking with Tash. See you guys next time, all right?